Welcome to our quantitative research project for Educational Administration 981. The title of our project is College Readiness of High School Students. Before we delve into the project too much, we wanted to give you some background information on the purpose of the study, some of the information about the research problem. And first, we want to recognize that as students graduate from high school, educators at the secondary level often believe that they're providing the best opportunities for students to be successful in the workforce or in pursuit of higher education opportunities. We also believe that when students begin their careers within the college setting, college instructors and staff are finding that some students are not necessarily prepared to succeed. Therefore, we as researchers sought to evaluate what factors contribute or inhibit students from experiencing success as they begin their post-secondary pursuits. We had two primary research questions that guided our project. Number one, how effective are K-12 public schools in supporting students to have sufficient skills to become college ready upon graduation? And number two, what factors influence high school students' ability to become college ready upon graduation? In beginning our research, we also had three hypotheses that we wanted to try to prove. First, as researchers, we hypothesized that high schools believe that they are sufficiently preparing students for post-secondary pursuits. Second, we as researchers hypothesized that post-secondary institutions are finding many recent high school graduates are not adequately prepared for the expectations associated with post-secondary pursuits. And third, we as researchers believe that many programs in high schools do provide supports that help high school graduates become college ready. However, several other factors provide obstacles to graduates, preventing them from becoming truly college ready. In conducting our research and collecting our participant data, we identified four variables that might be considered as potentially impacting the outcome of our research study. First among these is the perceived level of support from either the high school or the college participant's perspective. Second is the role of the participant within the educational unit. Is he or she a teacher or faculty member versus a staff member? Third is the gender of the participant. And fourth, the number of years that the participant has worked in his or her current role position. There were also a number of test variables that we surveyed our participants for and looked at whether those could be factors that contributed to or supported college readiness or perhaps potentially improved college readiness, and many of these ideas were borrowed from De La Rosa and Tierney from 2006. Factors that could contribute or support college readiness included access to rigorous high school coursework, the school's focus on standardized testing, the student's completion of college entrance exams, the student's socioeconomic status, and the student's parental involvement. Some factors that could potentially improve college readiness were more funding for high schools, lowering class sizes, increasing academic rigor, and the elimination of standardized testing. To give you an idea of our population sample, we had 69 participants in our study. 32 of them were from high schools and 37 from the collegiate level. Most of the high school participants were employed through Lincoln Public Schools, primarily at Lincoln North Star High School, and candidates there were selected based upon their interactions with one of the researchers. At the collegiate level, the 37 instructors and faculty members were individuals who were employed through Harrisburg Area Community College and or the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. Again, candidates were selected based upon their interactions with the researchers who work at those institutions. We developed our research design and procedures through a dialogue by exploring our personal interests and experiences, and then discovering that we had a common interest in exploring college readiness for graduating high school students. As a result, the research team determined that the participants should be from high school and college faculty member and staff, and we decided to incorporate research from previous studies that focused on factors contributing or supporting college readiness and factors that could potentially improve college readiness. And as a result, we developed variables and survey questions that the participants could complete. Additionally, all survey participants were chosen using convenience sampling through interactions with researchers at their current location of employment. All surveys were distributed and collected using SurveyMonkey, and the initial analysis of data was available through a variety of comparative properties within the SurveyMonkey website. We also conducted an SSPS comparative analysis to better understand the reliability and validity of the research and study results. We also looked at research questions and evaluated them for consistencies and inconsistencies. In regards to the survey instrument, we had 4 questions that were used to determine demographic information about the survey participants, and then we had 3 additional survey questions that addressed the participants' belief about the percentage of students who leave high school college ready, factors that may contribute to college readiness, and factors that may improve college readiness. In regards to our data analysis, the survey responses from high school and college faculty, staff, and teachers regarding college readiness were compared. We used several graphs and charts that provide the reader with a visual representation of the analyzed data. We also conducted a t-test that was completed using the SPSS statistics software, and raw data was saved in the SPSS format. At the time of the SPSS statistics data entry, there were 35 random selections that were compared and promulgated from the original 69 count sample. As researchers, we also recognize that there are some limitations to our study, and as a result, we've broken these down into sort of general limitations and then limitations that are more of the high school and college level. Some general limitations include the fact that the data was collected using convenient sampling, which is gathering data from participants that the researchers knew and had access to in their places of work. Convenient sampling without randomization often limits the generalizability of the final results. Additionally, as a result of the researchers' connections to the participants, it's also likely that research bias could have occurred. This bias likely might have occurred because the researchers were more likely to select individuals whom they knew would complete the survey. There were also some limitations that were specific to the high school participants. Some of these possible limitations that exist at the high school level were because of the small sample size and the fact that most staff were surveyed from one high school. This could likely impact generalization as the experiences were limited to the college preparatory activities found within one high school location. Another possible limitation could exist within the educational college preparatory experiences that the educator and staff member had within the high school setting. Teachers and staff who work with ninth grade students would probably not have the same experiences as other staff members working exclusively with upper class students. Another limitation at the high school level could be the fact that participants who are relatively new to the educational setting may not have the experience to be exposed to the options in college readiness activities to support their high school students. Access to these materials and training directly correlates with the perceptions and preparedness of the high school participant perspectives. Additionally, bias could exist for staff members who may or may not have had personal experience with preparing youth for becoming college ready. These personal experiences have a way of tainting perspective as well. There were also a few limitations that directly related to the college participants. Some possible limitations exist at the college level because of the small sample size and the fact that these participants were incorporated from two very different institutions. Faculty and staff at a community college and a large research institution are likely to see two very different types of students and a very different types of levels of college readiness. For this data to be more generalizable, a larger sample size would certainly be needed, but additional research could delve into the differing perceptions of college readiness for various types of higher education institutions. There could also be a few limitations that are specific to the community college faculty and staff, in that they could be clouded in their perception of college readiness because of the smaller number of traditional age students, ages 18 to 22. The number of those individuals is smaller at a community college. Thus, the community college faculty and staff could be guilty of including non-traditional students in their perception of college readiness, or letting the presence of these non-traditionals cloud that awareness. The next few slides will delve into the results of our study. This first slide is looking at the demographics of gender in regards to our participants. And you can see by looking at this that there were 23 female and 12 male participants, which is approximately 2/3 female, 1/3 male. In regards to the level of education from which the participants worked, 14 of the participants were high school participants and 21 were from the college level. Approximately that breaks down to approximately 40% high school, 60% college for our demographics in regards to the level of education where the participants work. This slide graphically demonstrates the fact that approximately 60% of the participants were teachers or faculty members and 40% were staff members, with breaking down to a frequency of 21 for teacher or faculty and 14 for staff members. You can see from this slide that the vast majority of our 35 participants, 25 of them are in the first 10 years, their first decade of employment with their current role. So 71% of those individuals are going to be from 0 to 10 years of experience, and then 10 of the participants, 28.6%, have 10 or more years of experience in their current role. This slide represents the participants' responses to the question, on a national scale, what percentage of students do you believe are college ready, upon graduation from high school. One of the participants said that between 0 and 20% are ready. 13 participants said that 21 to 40% are ready, and the final 21 participants were guessing that somewhere between 41 and 60% of high school graduates are college ready. When asked about whether access to rigorous high school coursework, including AP courses, has an impact upon college readiness, this is what our participants had to say. One of the participants said it had very little effect upon college readiness. 4 said it had no effect, either positive or negative. 12 thought that it had somewhat of an effect, and 18% believed that it had a significant effect upon college readiness. So over half the participants did feel that AP courses and rigorous high school coursework was important in preparing students for college level work. In regards to the school's focus on standardized testing, 22 of our 35 participants felt that there was no correlation or very little correlation between the school's focus on standardized testing and college readiness of the high school students. But 26 of the 35 participants, approximately 74.3%, did feel that the students' completion of college entrance exams had some effect on their college readiness. The vast majority of the participants did feel that the student's socioeconomic status, in fact 32 of 35 participants said that it had somewhat of an effect upon their college readiness or a significant effect upon their college readiness, and the majority actually were in the significant category. Participants also felt that the student's parental involvement had a profound impact upon college readiness. In fact, 100% of the participants, 8 saying that it had somewhat of an effect, and 27 saying that it had a significant impact, were on the side of student parental involvement as being a very important element of college readiness. The majority of the participants did feel that providing more funding for high schools could improve college readiness, and in fact 27 of the 35 said that it will lead to some improvement or significant improvement. Likewise, the majority of respondents thought that lowering class size would have some improvement for college readiness. In fact, 30 of 35 participants said that it would lead to some improvement or significant improvement. And the vast majority of participants also thought that increasing the rigor in high schools would lead to improvement or significant improvement. 18 of our participants said that it would lead to some improvement in schools, and 13 said it would lead to significant improvement. So that's a total of 31 out of 35 participants. In regards to the elimination of standardized testing in schools, our participants were not quite as clear. Just over half of the participants, 18 out of 35, said that it could improve college readiness in some respect, likely because schools could focus less on testing and more on preparing the students for college. However, 17 other respondents thought it would have little to no effect on the overall sense of college readiness. This page exemplifies some of the statistical tests that were run as part of the SPSS data analysis. You can see that we ran a Pearson chi-square test, a likelihood ratio, linear by linear association, and the n of valid cases. In performing a cross tabulation to the participants' responses to, on a national scale, what percentage of students do you believe are college ready, we were able to compare high school and college participants' responses. And as you can see from the data here in these charts, a higher percentage of the college respondents believed that students were less college ready. In fact, over 50%, 11 of 21 respondents from the college level believed that there somewhere fell between 0 and 40% of students were college ready. As a result of our data collection and analysis, we were able to reach some conclusions for the study. Even though the study lacks some generalizability due to a small sample size and possible research bias, there are many conclusions that can be reached. First and foremost among these is the fact that there was a substantial difference of opinion that existed between the perceptions of college readiness for high school and college participants. For example, in general, college-level participants had a more pessimistic view of high school graduates' college readiness. I can exemplify this by telling you that 14 of the 35 participants believe that 40% or less of high school graduates are college ready. 11 of these 14 participants were from the college-level faculty and staff, so they highly outweighed the high school perceptions. As a result of our study, we also found that in regards to factors that impact students' college readiness, two factors stood out highest among all respondents. 91% of the 35 participants, for a total of 32, found that the student's socioeconomic status had an impact upon his or her level of college readiness. Likewise, 100% of participants believe that students' college readiness was influenced by their parents' involvement in their schooling. Interestingly, these two factors that are rated the highest are factors over which schools have very little control. The results from our quantitative study are consistent with the 2012 study found in the U.S. News & World Report, which states that more than 60% of college-bound seniors were not adequately prepared for college. The data we collected through our survey indicated that the highest number of respondents believe that 41 to 60% of high school students are college ready upon graduation. Thus, there is some consistency between the two studies. Additionally, 88.5% of our 35 participants, which equates to 31 of them, from both subgroups, indicated that access to rigorous high school coursework was the single most important factor that will either lead to improvement or lead to significant improvement to college readiness. A 2006 ACT study substantiated this finding, stating that students who take a minimum core curriculum are more likely to be ready for college-level work than are students who do not. There are a number of implications that we believe can be drawn from this study. First among these is the idea that preparation for post-secondary readiness was not isolated to any one particular factor. Thus, the following implications can be extrapolated. First among these is the idea that high school participants generally felt stronger and more positive about the college readiness of the students that they serve. We believe that further collaboration between secondary and post-secondary institutions to better prepare students for their post-secondary pursuits is needed. Within the survey results, we also found that there was not a significant difference between the factors known to improve college readiness, as no one factor seemed to stand out as an intervention that would make a difference in the ability for students to become college ready. This information would suggest that all areas need to be addressed in high school programming and with articulation between high schools and post-secondary institutions. Additionally, while most staff at the high school and college levels feel as though students are not college ready upon graduation, neither population indicates one dominant factor that serves as an obstacle. Therefore, further information is needed to be shared in order to support staff's pursuits in supporting college readiness for high school students. Additionally, many states are implementing Common Core curriculum in response to government legislation. The belief is that implementation of a rigorous curriculum increases the likeliness of college readiness for graduating students. Increasing academic rigor, according to our study, has been known to positively impact college readiness for graduating students. The final 5 or 6 slides that follow here are appendices that include the cover letter that went with our survey, as well as a copy of the survey itself, so you can actually see the survey that our participants took. We will also be attaching as a separate document an Appendix C, which will be the SPSS data. We unfortunately could not get it into a format that would show up neatly as part of a PowerPoint presentation. Overall, what you'll find in these next 5 or 6 slides is that I'll have each slide stay on that page for maybe 8 or 10 seconds, but certainly by pausing the slideshow you can take a look at each one in a little bit more detail. We thank you very much for taking a look at our presentation, and we hope that perhaps our implications and what we've learned from our study is something that you can take away with you as well.